A woman's past doesn't come out in answers. It comes out in glitches. In how she flinches when you pause too long. In how she overreacts to silence or disappears when it gets too deep. Most men miss this. They try to uncover her past by digging, probing, talking too much. But the Stoic man, he says nothing because he doesn't need to ask her story. He simply lets her relive it in front of him. And every reaction, every hesitation, every emotional storm, tells him more than her words ever could. This is how you learn her past, without asking a single question. 1. Watch her reactions, not her words. The moment you ask a woman, "So, what's your dating history like?" you've already lost something far more valuable than information. Her trust in your silence. Stoic men don't interrogate. They observe. And the truth. You don't need to ask her anything to know everything, because a woman's past doesn't live in her stories. It lives in her reactions. Watch how she flinches when you raise your voice. Even slightly. Watch how she gets uncomfortable when you go silent. Watch how she tightens when you talk about loyalty or cheating or trauma. That tension, that's the ghost of her past speaking. You don't need her words, her body already remembers what her mouth won't admit. Stoicism teaches this. Let people reveal themselves. All you have to do is wait. Ask yourself, does she rush to please you? That's not sweetness. That's a scar from rejection. Does she become cold when you give her attention? That's not mystery. That's fear of attachment. Does she constantly talk about independence? Maybe she had to learn that after depending on the wrong man. The truth is written in her habits. In the way she apologizes too much, in the way she holds back when you compliment her, in the way she laughs, but watches your eyes while doing it just to see if it's okay. Her past is bleeding through the cracks. You just have to stop talking long enough to hear it. Most men miss it. They listen for words. But Stoic men listen for tension, because what she avoids tells you everything. You want to know if she's been hurt. Watch how she reacts when you don't text back right away. Watch what she does when you take up space without apologizing. Watch her when she's not in control. A woman who's still carrying pain doesn't need to tell you her story, she lives it every day. And when you bring stillness into her storm, her reactions write the book for you. You don't need to ask. You just need to observe what awakens her anxiety and what softens it. That's how you learn silently, powerfully, without ever touching the question. 2. She tells you everything when she thinks you're not listening. She's not hiding anything. She just learned how to tell the truth quietly. And if you're too busy filling the space with words, you'll miss the moment she drops the most revealing sentence of her entire story, like a whisper tossed into traffic. Because women don't confess when you ask, they confess when you don't. In the middle of casual conversation, halfway through a story about her childhood friend, right after a laugh when her guard is low, she'll say something like, "Yeah, I don't really trust people like that anymore." Or "I guess I learned to just handle everything myself." And then she'll move on, change the subject, smile like it was nothing. But that was everything. That was her entire emotional blueprint handed to you in a sentence that 99% of men would miss because she wasn't testing you. She was revealing herself quietly to see if you'd notice, and most don't. They jump to comfort her. They related back to their own story. They try to fix it or probe deeper. That ruins the moment, because now she knows you're not strong enough to hold her truth without trying to solve it. But the Stoic man, he doesn't interrupt. He doesn't overreact. He just watches, listens, nods maybe, but mostly he lets her sit in what she just said, because he understands a woman's unfiltered past leaks out when she's unguarded, not when she's interrogated. She'll tell you about the guy who disappeared without warning, but say it while joking about how ghosting is just normal now. She'll mention how her dad used to leave the house when her mom cried, but only while describing how she doesn't like conflict. She won't say, "I was abandoned." She'll say, "I don't like relying on people. It feels vulnerable." And that's your moment. That's her entire past sitting there unwrapped. And she doesn't even realize she gave it to you, because she didn't mean to. It just slipped. And when it slips, it's real. So what do you do with that? You hold it. You file it in silence. You let it shape the way you interact with her. But you never weaponize it. Never throw it back at her. Never even bring it up unless she does. Because the moment she realizes you noticed the quiet things she didn't even mean to say, you become dangerously attractive. Not because you're empathetic, but because you're tuned in, and that makes her feel emotionally naked, not in a threatening way, but in a way that makes her want to keep opening. She'll start telling you more, not because you asked, but because you earned it with your stillness. And that's what separates the Stoic man from everyone else. He doesn't chase her story. He lets her story surface because he knows the moment she stops performing for your attention is the moment she starts revealing the truth of who she is. And once she starts doing that, you don't just know her past, you own her trust. 3. If you want to know her past, watch her during conflict. You'll never meet the real woman in your life over dinner. You'll meet her in the silence between texts. You'll meet her when she's angry, when she's triggered, when something doesn't go her way, because conflict, not comfort, is where the truth of her past comes alive. Anyone can play calm in still water. But when the tide shifts, when her emotions get tested, that's when the past crawls out. You want to know if she was abandoned? Watch what happens when you take space. Not days, just a few hours. Does she spiral? Does she self-destruct? Does she accuse, withdraw, lash out? That's not about you. That's about someone else who disappeared first. You want to know if she was manipulated? Watch how she handles confrontation. If you say something direct, something small even, and she suddenly shuts down or tries to control the narrative or flips your calm truth into an attack. She's not reacting to you. She's reacting to the men who used honesty as a weapon. That man isn't in the room, but you're wearing his shadow now. This is what Stoic men understand. Her emotional reactions are echoes. They carry the voice of men she no longer speaks of events she may have forgotten. But her nervous system still remembers perfectly. You don't need to ask what happened to you. She's telling you in every fight, in every defensiveness, in the way she apologizes too quickly or not at all. In how she avoids hard conversations. In how she takes control before she gets hurt, in how she tests your love before trusting it. That's not personality. That's protection. And if you're wise, you won't resent her for it. You'll observe it because conflict isn't a problem. It's a portal. It shows you everything: how she fights, how she forgives, how she copes when she doesn't feel in control. It shows you whether she was taught to speak or suppress, to blame or reflect, to connect or run. And more importantly, it shows you how she sees you. Not the version she wants, not the fantasy, but the male presence she projects her fears onto. That's powerful data. If you're grounded enough to receive it, the average man will either shut down or fight back. The Stoic man, he stays still. He watches. He listens between the yelling. He feels the wound behind the words. Because now he's not hearing her scream, "I don't need you." He's hearing her past scream, "Please don't leave me first." That's when the whole map of her history unfolds in front of you. And you didn't ask. You didn't dig. You didn't push. You simply watched her lose composure and stayed composed. And in that stillness, you didn't just learn her story. You earned her respect. Because the moment she realizes you're not afraid of her chaos, she stops trying to hide it and starts giving you the parts of herself no one else has ever stayed long enough to receive. You'll never find her truth in what she says. You'll find it in what she avoids, in the silence between her confessions, in the way she tests your stillness just to see if you'll break the way someone else once did. The way she fights isn't just emotion. It's memory trying to protect her. And when you observe instead of react, you become the first man who isn't just safe. You become uncharted. Because the men who came before you, they tried to fix her. You didn't. You saw her. And that's what she'll remember. Not the conversations, but the moment she realized you already knew everything about her without her needing to say a word. If you're done begging for honesty and ready to feel it without asking, comment. I listen between the lines. Like this video if you'll never see conflict the same way again. Subscribe if you're done with surface-level games and ready to master the art of Stoic awareness. And share this with the men who ask too many questions and hear too few answers because her story isn't hidden. It's right in front of you if you're still enough to see.